Welcome to the Virtual Agent Academy. Let's get started. So a few logistics. First, please visit the Virtual Agent and NLU community site. Has a lot of great resources for beginners and experts. You can ask questions, answer questions, and see articles written by our subject matter experts. We have content such as a step-by-step process, how to get started, best practices, the latest content written by our product managers and team. And really, you can rely on the hive mind and experience of others, ask questions, give answers, a great website overall. If you're watching for YouTube and you like this content and other content from ServiceNow, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Feel free to put comments in as well. And for those who are listening to live, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them anytime. Just hit the Q&A button. So today's topic is going to be building virtual agent notifications to enhance your workflows. So virtual agent notifications is not a new feature. We've had it in our previous release, and by previous I mean the Paris release, but we're going to show you a new spin on notifications, and that is available in the upcoming Quebec release, which is in general availability this week, which is actionable notifications. So how do you not only make your notifications pop, but also make them actionable and make them or useful for your users? So presenting is myself, Victor Chen. Also have with me is Paul Niseroy from the ITSM team and Marcel Goodsell from the Employee Workflows team. So this is our agenda briefly. We're going to go over an overview of notifications, and then we're going to do some exercises like hands-on live exercises that Paul and Marcel are going to go through for both an IT use case and an HR use case or HR experiences or channels. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A, and of course you can always ask Q&A in between in case there's anything you see. So first, an overview. So notifications are really an experience that you may see on your phone, but you can now also present and build notifications that users can see not only a virtual agent in your web client, for example, your service portal, but anywhere, whether it's Slack or Workplace by Facebook or Microsoft Teams. Notifications are enhanced in the Quebec release in the following manner. So first thing is you can now unsubscribe and subscribe from notifications within channels. So if users don't want to get notifications, want to pause it for a while, you can do that. You can also build rich image and record layouts for notifications. So instead of a notification just be kind of boring, a text or maybe a link, you can create one with images. You can create one that reference a record as well. And that just provides more context or more a more great user experience for those who see these notifications, right? As I mentioned, you can now practically engage users with actionable notifications. If you see in the screenshot on the right, this is a notification in the Slack channel. It has an image, and it also has buttons for users to act on. They can even take a survey. They can, maybe in another example, speak to a live agent if they want to speak to an agent upon receiving notification, etc. Any actions is going to be a virtual agent topic that you configure. And finally, of course, all these enhancements I mentioned, whether it's adding images, making notifications actionable, etc., they are available in all our supported channels today. Again, that is Slack, Teams, Workplace, and of course, again, our service portal or our portal web clients. So when you're creating a great notification, just some things we want to share and keep in mind, and this is considered good guidance, not only with ServiceNow, but also in the industry overall, right? So the number one, of course, is don't bombard your users. The more you bombard users with notifications, the more likely they are going to ignore them or unsubscribe to them, right? You want to make your notifications actionable, substantive, and distinct. And that's really, what you're about to see in the exercises is how ServiceNow really helps you do that, right? You want to make sure notifications are actionable. Users can act upon the notification rather than just kind of be a passive reader and digester of the notifications, right? You want them to be substantive. You want them to be important. You want to note perhaps a change or an update or something that your users are going to potentially care about. And finally, you want to make them distinct, right? You don't want 2 or 3 different notifications for the same change. Or, if, for example, an incident is updated, you don't want 3 different incidents or notifications saying the same thing that, oh, your incident has changed, right? So you want to make them really distinct. Consider where and who in the workflow should be notified, right? You don't want to over notify or notify people who may not be relevant to, and where in the workflow to notify, right? Do you need to do in the beginning when perhaps a ticket is created, a ticket update, or a ticket ended, right? So really consider where in this workflow users should be notified for an optimal experience, and again, for users to most be able to really care and take action on. And finally, capture feedback on the effectiveness and experience of your notifications. You'll find that users may prefer notifications during work hours or maybe off hours. Maybe they don't care if they receive notifications on weekends. Maybe they do. And again, of course, what kind of notifications they receive, right? Maybe they care a lot about notifications about a ticket over there that was updated in urgency or in state. Or not. So really take the time, once you've implemented notification, really, start that feedback loop in terms of, okay, what works and what doesn't, and what notification gets a lot of traction. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Paul, and we're going to go straight into the live build of a notification and an action notification. So Paul, whenever you're ready, feel free to share your screen.
Thank you, Victor. Thanks for the introduction. So what I'd like to show you in my exercise today is I'm going to create a notification. I'm going to add some rich content to that notification. I'm going to add 1 or 2 actions, and I'm going to show you what that notification looks like in the web client. So we're not going to touch on the designer for this exercise, but I do want to just briefly highlight this notification here, or the checkbox here that says enable notifications for all users. That's the first step you need to take. And alongside with the enable notifications, you see some of the other options that are now available. Allow transcript download for the end users if they want to have a written version of what they chatted in the VA. Show agent names and avatars. Some of those options are now available. But for now, we'll focus on this one. Enable notifications for all users. Right, so then where do I create notifications? If I type in provider, I can see the provider notifications, and those are the ones that I want to add one new to. Here we see a couple of out-of-the-box notifications that are already existing. Some of them are active, some of them are not active. I'm going to create a new one from scratch, and the use case that I would like to use for today is I would like for the end user to be notified whenever an incident is updated. Right. So if you have an update on an incident, a status update on the incident, I would like this notification to automatically provide the end user with the information around that. So I'm going to hit new, and I'm going to give my notification a name, and the name I'm going to choose is incident change. Right. So I'm going to send off this notification automatically whenever an incident of a specific end user has a change. The table I want to run this notification off of is the incident table. I'm going to click incident. It's already set to active, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. I want this to be triggered by a record change. So whenever a record in my incident table changes, I then kick off this notification. I don't want it to be kicking off on an insert, right? That would be when a user just creates a new incident. But I do want it to be kicking off when there's an update. Not all updates. I would like for the state to be changed for it to kick off this notification. And I can add some conditions, like when it changes to a specific state, or when it doesn't change to a specific state, but all the other states, etc. For now, I'm just going to go with whenever the state changes. Who do I want to send this notification to? Not to specific users, but to specific users in the context of this incident, right? So users in the field, and I'm going to look for opened by. There it is. That's the one I would like to use. So now what I've selected is I would like to create a notification on the incident table whenever a record changes, more specifically the state of that record changes, the notification then goes to the open by or the creator of that incident. I'm going to save this record so that I see the related list appearing at the bottom. So at the bottom, I can see notification contents and actions, and in the executions, I can see later on when there's been some notifications kicked off, which instances of those notifications actually were created. I'll start with notification contents. This, as Victor explained, is now rich content. So I'm going to create some new provided content for my chat to appear. And I would like that to be called notification. What I would like to be shared in this notification for my notification incident change is an image card. First of all, I start with a picture, and then I'll add some text to that. Right, and the message I want to be displayed is the incident state has changed. Please check the status of your incident, or anything to that matter, right? As long as it provides some context to what is expected from the end user to do at this point. Then I say I want to use either a URL, or I want to upload an image. Upload an image, choose the file that is called notification, and I'll add that one. There it is. That's a little image I would like to add to my notification. So that's the first thing I'm adding as a message to the end user whenever there's a state update. I also want to add some actions, right? And we can now create actions for this notification. So I'll click New Provider Action. And the first action, again for virtual agent, I'm going to call check ticket status. And here's where I can refer to topics, right? Make sure you have your topics available and published, or else they won't appear in this list. In this case, I want to check have the check IT status topic to be kicked off. Right? So we're just referring to active and published VA topics here. That's one action item I want to add. I'm going to add another one, again for virtual agent, that I'm going to call chat with someone. Right, so that's the second option here. And here I can see live agent support. I can pick that from a list, but here it appears in the recently selected ones. So live agent support, and submit. So now what I've done, before I click update, let me go through this again. I've created a notification that kicks off whenever the state of my incident changes, sends a notification to whoever created that incident. It then sends two action items that are preceded by one notification with a nice image. I click update. And there it is. There's my incident change. Now, how do I know whether this is actually working? In my second tab here, I am logged in as a specific user, the system administrator, who has the VA, the web client open. So let's see if my new notification is actually doing what I'm expecting it to do. So I go to incidents, and it just happens so that I have one incident open for this guy called system administrator. Now, if I hit this, or double click on this state here, I can change the state from new to in progress. And whenever I do that, my state of my incident changes. So that should kick off my notification to the owner. So I'm going to hit in progress to check that. I'm going to go back to my second tab, and I'm going to see if there's any notification that's going to show up in this web client of Josh, who is logged on. And here we go. There we go. So I can see a notification has arrived. The incident state has changed. That's the text that I added. please check the status of your incident. There's that little image. And really, you can put anything here, but I thought this was a nice picture to show something is happening. I can check IT status or chat with someone. So those are the two action items that I've defined. Let's go and click the first one, check ticket status. So that's going to kick off the topic. It's going to find the incident, right? So it's going to provide me with that ticket that was updated. Would you like to add a comment? I can open up the incident if I want to, but I can see now the status is in progress. So yes, I would like to add a comment. I can say, please enter your comment. Thanks for the update. And I hit send. And then that is added to the incident. And that's the end of that notification, right? So in summary, I've activated notifications. I've then created a new one for my incident to be kicked off on a state update whenever the state updates. There is one image, a bit of text, and two action items. And as an end user, I can see that notification pop up in my web client. All right. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Marcel. Marcel.
Great. Thank you, Paul. So I'm going to take the screen from you. And for the next segment, we are going to cover what those notifications look like in Microsoft Teams. So as you can see, I'm on an incident record here. But if we wanted to check what the notification looked like ahead of time, we can come in, right, go under the same menu that Paul was showing on notifications. And let's just check to see what that notification looks like. So I can just type in incident, and notice there's a couple different incident notifications here. So if it's commented, changed, I have those as active. Now, best practice is if you have multiple notifications is not to delete, but you can set those to false. But if we take a peek at the incident change notification in this particular screen, what it will show is pretty much the same as what Paul built, right? There's some actions the user can take. We've, added it by notifications to be received on open by and state changes. So you can see the conditions are very consistent, and we can see that there's a notification content and then two actions, right? So check the status of the ticket, or I need to chat with someone. Maybe I need to provide more context, or something is a bit more urgent than initially indicated. So coming back into the incident record, we can come in and take a look at open incidents. And the one I'm particularly interested in is from Bess. So Bess used virtual agent to log a ticket to say, hey, I need help installing Miro on my laptop. So this could be a common issue, right? Maybe there's a new software that you've deployed in your organization, and some of the employees need to be able to use it. Maybe they're having trouble installing it on their machine. And so when we take a look at Bess's incident, we can comment, we can update the state. So we can come in and say, sure, Bess, please let me know when you're available for a quick review of how to install, right? This could involve mirroring or remote logging in. So let's just post that comment, and we're going to update the state to in progress. So we're going to make an update to that incident. And let's head over to Teams. But before we do, Victor, did we need to take a quick pause and address some of the questions?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I'm just trying to address the questions. I am addressing them. Quick pause here. First off, if you join late, or if you want a recording for this, no worries. A link for this recording will appear both on the community page for Virtual Agent Academy and community, and it'll be on YouTube. So don't worry if you wanted to replay this in your head, right? Another question very quickly: what happens to the notification if users happen to be in the middle of a conversation? That's a good call out. So so you can create notifications, and then you can create actual notifications, which is the notification that Paul built, right? Regular notifications without any actions tied to them, they will appear even if users are in the middle of a conversation, right? However, actual notifications will not. We're obviously not going to have users take actions within a conversation. So those notifications don't appear until after a user has ended their previous conversation. Let's see. Yeah, and then there are some other open questions. Go ahead, continue, Marcel. I'm going to try to type these out, and I'll speak them out as well, perhaps when you're done.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Victor. So I'm in Teams now, and you can see I'm in as Bess. And the reason we're sharing this this capability is a lot of employees are working in collaborative workspaces today, and a lot of questions come up around, well, if my team is constantly in these collaborative workspaces like Teams and Slack and, places where they're constantly in meetings and, doing different activities related to their job role, how do we reach them and how do we make it not so that they have to navigate elsewhere to see the notification? Like in Paul's scenario, if I'm working in Teams all day, that wouldn't be a great experience. If I had to go over to a portal and use the virtual agent and see the information over there, it's much easier if it's displayed to me in Teams where I'm sitting for most of the day. And so while users are camping out in these workspaces, you can have the notifications appear where it's now displaying the update, right? So the administrator says, hey, when are you ready? I can help you install that. Maybe I need to remote into your laptop or your desktop. And at this point, I have an update, but I also have the same image that Paul had just recently shared on the notification. So from here, I can, check this ticket status or chat. But you can see that I have plenty of information and I didn't have to go, the burden wasn't on me to go seek it out, right? I'm in Teams, so it, displayed. So I can say, yeah, I want to view my ticket details. Maybe I want to update a status on that, right? So I can take a look at my ticket, which would then bring me over to the portal. Or from within virtual agent, I can come down here in the notification and just say, hey, I just want to check my ticket status, right? Maybe I'm on a call and I'm trying to do a quick multitasking action. So at this point, I can check the ticket status. And again, similar to the experience you saw on the portal, it brings me to my ticket number. It lets me know the additional comments. And if I wanted to add another comment and include that as part of the ticket activity stream, I have that capability here. So you can see how easy it is for a user to multitask and, go ahead and add an update to that ticket. Right. So it looks like I pressed something too quickly, but you can see, yes, I want to add a comment. But this is where I can either, add a comment through virtual agent or, I can send a reply here or go over to the portal. So I may want to just say, thanks, Josh. I am free in about an hour, right? So I can just send that comment back to the ticket reply. And so it really makes it easy for people to be able to, be on their calls and doing their work, but also engage and interact with the organization for critical points. So maybe the software is something I need to use for a meeting later in the day. So again, I'm not really skipping a beat with work. And so this is just kind of sharing what that experience would be like in Microsoft Teams or collaborative workspace. And so I'll switch back over to our PowerPoint. And I think that's all we had to share for today. So Victor, did we want to run through some of the Q&A that's come in the last few minutes?
Yeah, I'll just quickly go over some. I'll try to cover as much as I can. We're getting lots of Q&A, which is good, and as well as in chat. So I'll try to address them as soon as I can, or as quickly as I can. So can notifications be set up, for example, notify users if a system is down? You can. So if the main triggers for a virtual agent notification, as you saw in Paul's demo, is an either event or a record change. So for, I'll use the example of record change. If a system being down generates or updates any table record, then the trigger that will act as a trigger for virtual agent notification, and you'll be able to send notifications to a user or a set of users or a group of users that the X system is down. Let's see what else here. I'm just sorry, just scrolling through. I wish there was a way to get these Q&A in order, or they should be. Is there a way to see notifications without being signed into the virtual agent? Unfortunately not. I do not believe that a virtual agent notification work for guest users. So you must be a user assigned to an instance in order to get virtual agent notifications. Let's see, let's address some of the open ones. So I'll answer these live. Can we have provider notifications configured for ServiceNow for Teams app? So yeah, I believe that's just what Marcel showed. So these notifications can appear in any channel, both web client like in Paul's exercise, as well as in Teams, in Marcel's, and Slack and Workplace, etc. So let's see. Can we include ticket variables in the notification? I did not see that, but these notifications are very useful. Yeah. So, identified information. I'll try to answer the question directly, and if I don't cover it, then let me know if you want to clarify. So yeah, something that we showed in, I think it was in Paul's exercise, is that yes, you can show the record of which the ticket is about, or the notification is about. So if you're sending a notification that a record has been updated, you can create that as part of your content, or an incident has been updated, you can show that record as part of your content. What you can also do is add an action to say, hey, maybe your notification is text only, or text and an image saying your incident has been updated. Would you like to see it? You can add an action then to see check ticket status or view record, and then the user can tap on that if they so choose, and they can see that record. So
yeah,
I hope that.
Yeah, just to add, right? So you can even add an image that indicates, if something requires urgent action. So maybe, your organization has visual cues where you want to add an image to that actionable notification to say, hey, action required immediately. Maybe it's an approval at a specific level, or maybe it's, for a leader in the organization, right? So I wouldn't disregard the use of images as well, in addition to text, to make those notifications more impactful so that it catches the attention of the user.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I'll just go in order here. Does provider notifications also have support for actionable notifications? Yes, it's supported, and Paul built that example. And if you want a refresh on how he did it, I know showing it once is sometimes not enough. Once the recording's available, which will be in a couple of days, you can see how that's built. So like what Marcel and I just mentioned, you can create a notification of content type equals record card, and then you can select, okay, what table this records on, and then you can select what fields you want to show. So when incidents get updated, you want to notify a user of that. You don't have to show every single field. You can show 1, 2, 3 fields and choose which fields you like, and you'll see those. So I hope that answers your question. And you're right, they don't have to type, or I'm sorry, they don't have to tap check ticket status or tap view record. You have two content types, or several, including text, image, and record card. So record card is the one I'm referring to. Where's the recording for today? So yeah, on community, Paul or Marcel, if you can do me a favor, if you can paste on chat the Virtual Academy page, that would be great. And that article page has all our previous recordings, as well as our announcement for today's recording as well. So that is there.
Yep. And you go to community, and if you go under forums, go down to virtual agent and natural language understanding, and it's in the promoted topics. So you should see Virtual Agent Academy as one of, we have 5 promoted topics today. And so if you just click on the link, you can get access to all the replays. So that's a great idea if folks in your organization would find this material interesting, or you just want to watch the replay, or, maybe at this point you're not in a phase where, you're deploying this functionality quite yet, but you plan to get there in a few months or a few weeks. So that's why the replays are so valuable. Everybody's at different stages of maturity. And so we make that content available. So as you're ready to consume it, it's available.
Great, thanks. I'll keep going down to the questions. Again, keep them coming in either the Q&A. If they're in chat, I'll have to look at them later. I haven't gotten to those yet. So going along with Q&A. So let's see. Trish asks, not so much notification related, but do the Teams reaction buttons provide any triggers to virtual agent? No, I don't think so. So virtual agent notifications are sent out by machine, by system, and the emojis don't do anything to them. Is it possible to use one Teams with two different instances of ServiceNow? That one, I'm not sure. I'm not a Teams expert. Marcel, would you happen to know?
Yeah, so in Quebec, it's a one-to-one mapping. So you want to make sure you have your one Teams tenant linked with one ServiceNow instance. It won't let you link multiple instances. So that's just something to be mindful of with Teams. You want to make sure that that's connected to a single ServiceNow instance.
Great, thanks. And then the second question by Helly, will the virtual agent notifications, will the VA web client open automatically when the user receives a notification? No, it will not. It won't expand automatically expand when the user gets notification. I think that's what you mean. However, they will get an audible notice if they have audible notices turned on, and you will see like an orange button. We didn't show it in the demo, but you see like an orange nub on top of your virtual agent client button when you get a notification. And then if it just happens to be open, or maybe the person has it open but is idle, you'll get them naturally. So it won't automatically expand, but the user will get notified.
Yep, and to add to what Victor said, we have a space on the community. It's called the Idea Portal, and it's one of the menu headers in the community. And if you see a feature, or you see a feature gap that you would like to see in a future release, I would encourage you to head over to the Idea Portal and submit your enhancement request. And then that way other customers can upvote that request, and we can have some visibility as to how popular that is or how in demand that is. So that's always something we welcome our audience members to do is, if there's something that you would like to see a more proactive notification, or you have a great idea that, you need to solve for in your organization, I would encourage you to log an enhancement request through the Idea Portal.
Yes, seconded. The virtual agent Idea Portal needs more ideas, frankly, and needs more votes. So please, and our product managers love the Idea Portal, and they take it as a source of pride, and they treat it very, very importantly when figuring out what to do in the next releases. Next question, we have notifications out of box with ServiceNow for Teams. Can those be disabled so we don't duplicates with these new ones? Yes, you can. So any notification can be set active to false to disable them, whether it's the ones that you set up in the provider notification records as Paul had shown you, or whether it's set up elsewhere. I know there are multiple places where you create and activate notifications on ServiceNow. So yes, any and all of them can be deactivated at any given time, so that to your point, you don't want the user to be bombarded, or you don't want duplicate notifications. So yes, that is possible. Katie asks, can you create notifications based on what a user types in, for example, to inform them about a new iOS update they should install if they search something like iPhone? I don't believe so, Katie, unless Marcel, Paul, if there's some creative thing I haven't thought of.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea for our campaigns feature. So if you want to, proactively notify employees of, something coming up, it could be, you're migrating software, there's a critical update people need to install. We have a feature that sits on the HR service delivery side called Campaigns. And again, it's actually a universal feature now. So organizations can take advantage of that and proactively notify users of what they need to take action on. And then virtual agent can be used to support those activities. So at this point, virtual agent can, you can have the actionable notifications if someone has an open incident, or, there's something that requires a person's action to follow up with that. But those are, using campaigns and content automation is a great way to supplement your investment with virtual agent, and really broadcast the information out to users.
Yeah, and I'll thanks, Marcel. And I'll wrap up, Katie, that again, the main trigger, the most direct trigger for virtual agent notifications are record changes. So if you can kind of be creative if you want and say, oh, if short description becomes X, new iOS update, then you can fire notifications, right? So while not like a direct approach, you could be creative in terms of like, how do records get created or updated when you want a certain notification, or when you want when something changes in your workflow, and then that in turn can fire off a notification. Kaveri asks, if there is bot-to-bot integration and an update is coming from another bot, will ServiceNow virtual agent notify? I don't know, but
yeah, at this point, no, since ServiceNow is what we call a child bot still. So, in a future release where we will support primary bot capabilities, that could be something we're looking to support. But today, if you have a notification coming from another system, likely it would show in the primary bot. But what some organizations do is they'll have the primary bot, if they have a bot-to-bot integration, have that primary bot sitting on ServiceNow and on various pages, so that it does provide that seamless experience. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, and probably a good plug. In 2 weeks, we're doing a session on the virtual agent API bot-to-bot integration. But that's definitely something from a design perspective you'd probably want coming from the primary bot if it's a child bot system update outside of ServiceNow.
Yes, thanks, Marcel. I was just thinking the same thing, but I was thinking backwards. So yes, a notification from ServiceNow could appear on your primary bot. However, a notification from your primary bot cannot go to your. I may have gotten that backwards. Never mind, scratch that. Just what Marcel said. But yeah, in 2 weeks, we're going to have an API virtual agent API product manager do a virtual agent academy on the API. Definitely join in 2 weeks, and she can answer all your API questions, including what happens for notifications. You're asking, is it available in Quebec or Rome? So virtual agent API, virtual agent, ServiceNow virtual agent as primary bot, we don't have a set timeline of when it's coming out. As a secondary bot, that's already available, since the Paris release. So primary, we don't have any updates there yet. All right, so could you elaborate, let me just clear some of these. Could you elaborate a bit more on integrating teams with more than one instance of ServiceNow? If a company has more than one instance, is that really not possible? Marcel, did you want to take that?
Yeah, and that's something where I would encourage you to visit some of the Microsoft documentation as well. So from our side, it's a one-to-one mapping. So what you can do is on some of the test instances, have additional Teams developer accounts, just to make sure those linkages work. But on our side, it's, in the Quebec release, a one-to-one mapping between the Teams tenant and the ServiceNow instance.
Thanks. Let's go over to the chat. I know some folks added some questions here. So Jeffrey asked, is there any data on percentage of issues resolved via chat? So that's a great question. Because the answer is yes, in terms of it is tracked currently in our conversational analytics dashboard. So in the Quebec release, we have a brand new analytics dashboard for chat. And one of the main metrics, one of the out-of-box metrics is, was the conversation resolved, right? Yes or no, or did it have to be transferred to a live agent for resolution? So all that's being tracked in Quebec. In the Paris analytics dashboard, I'm not sure whether or not that's one of the out-of-box metrics, because the Paris dashboard is built off performance analytics. What that means, though, because it's built on PA, if it's not there, or if you need like a certain flavor of that metric, it can be manually built by you, as in terms of like what you want to track and et cetera. So another plug, in 4 weeks, I'm thinking way ahead here, we are planning a virtual agent academy on the conversational analytics dashboard for the Quebec release for those interested. So again, if you guys register on community, you'll get notified of both our API event in 2 weeks and then our analytics dashboard event in 4 weeks. Is there, next question from Jeffrey, is there a difference in chat functions within VA and agent workspace? I would probably need elaboration on what we mean by chat functions. If by chat functions you mean like, what actions are available for the end user to take, then yes, agent workspace, the agent has different actions that they can take. For example, quick actions, etc., that a virtual agent end user does not have. Just because of the persona, the virtual agent end user just is very much end user focused chat. Whereas agent workspace, agent, of course, you're going to have a lot more tools. You're going to have, be able to redirect threads in case you need help from someone. You could, again, do quick actions or shortcuts, etc. So there are differences. I would direct you to our documentation on agent workspace. That has a lot of, good visual on how agent works, how the chat experience in agent workspace is available, or what abilities or capabilities are there. Great. These are great questions. Thank you. We love hearing these questions and interacting. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to put them out in community, and where the power of our community is not just me, Marcel, and Paul, but anyone could answer and help you out with your questions. And also, again, community is the place to be. That's all I had. Paul, Marcel, anything you guys wanted to wrap up with?
Just wanted to thank the audience for their engagement today. I mean, you guys are what really make these Academy sessions. So we love hearing from you. We love the engagement, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Yes, thank you, everyone. See you all in 2 weeks. Tell your colleagues, tell your friends. And again, the recording will be available in a couple of days. Thank you, everyone.